another message from me to you. Now, I want all of you to understand something so that you get what's going on. We know that when we walk into the court, when we walk into the building, the first thing we do is we give consent.
How do you give consent?
Because you walk through a metal detector, and because there is no law saying you have to go through that metal detector, you thereby, ergo, give consent. So, what must you do? Say, yes, I will come through your metal detector, but I reserve all of my rights. Just that simple, people. When you walk into the court and that idiot calls the name of the corporation that you speak in behalf of, you say, yes, I am here in reference to that matter, but I reserve all of my rights throughout. Just that simple, people. It's time for us to get control, to gain control, to re-control, not be controlled. There's a lot going on. So, what I want you to do is compare what you hear here to what you're hearing out there. And notice, nobody is bringing up any of these points. Not one single person. So, we are the puzzle descramblers. We are the puzzles putter-togethers. We are the people who are seeking to find the answers with the clues we have in front of us. We don't want followers. We want people who are there who are going to help us. Are you going to help us?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, ladies and gents, I'm definitely going to try to keep this one to a minimum. Now, the first thing I like to do is I like to thank James McBride, Thomas James McBride, I believe his name is, the postmaster. The reason why I'd like to thank him is because he put documents out there and gave it and distributed to the people attending his function and event. And he showed them the actual documents that he filed so that individuals will have the opportunity of following him. Okay, I would do that with my documents, but we've just had some recent work done because we found a doorway that is still open. And because that doorway is still open, let me close this document. Because that doorway is still open as of this time, we don't want it to close so quickly. So we've given you most of the information, but we've held back on some of it only because we need to protect the innocent as well as the guilty. You guys understand? At least we hope you understand. At least I think you understand. Now, we get a ton, T-O-N, of emails asking, hey, do I need to become a secure party creditor? Do I need to file a UCC1 financial statement? Wow. So, let me tell you where we're coming from. The same place we were coming from a year ago when we posted the Declaration of Executorship, Grantor's Assertion of Rights, on the internet for the very first time. We told you this. Following a UCC1 financial statement, please understand that the Uniform Commercial Code is not law. It's only code or color of law. So we're saying that you don't need to operate within their system in order to get recognition of your status and standing. Well, think of it this way. Now, people say, oh, the videos you've been putting up lately, oh, them things are the bomb. You've been giving out so much information. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what we're doing, just giving out information. But we're also giving you information that you can validate for yourself. You know, I beg you. Oh, some of you have been hearing me tell you that for the month of November, I received nothing by way of Social Security. You received Social Security? How you can talk about getting your... Shut up. It finally happened this month, so they did catch up. But when people were telling me that I was getting rich off of other people after spending my own monies, got to take a deep breath on that one, because I don't want to have to go Mr. Stink Miser on you. Now, some of y'all know who Mr. Stink Miser is. I'm sorry. You have to watch the Boondocks to get Mr. Stink Miser. And it's roughly episode number 4. But it's one of those moments. And see, you don't want me to have one of those moments because I'll go there. Well, anyway, let me move on. As of Sunday, I was down to trying to figure out how I was going to get through the month of December. Because if they had not credited my account, it was going to be difficult. Well, let's just say by Monday morning, everything was okay. And I was able to take care of some things that was necessary to take care of. And now I can start taking care of me. All right. Now, been a lot of stress, been a lot of work, been a lot of working on this, working on that, trying to help people out. I got a cat that's sitting over here scratching me because she, come here, she is my girl. This is Jennifer. Huh, Jennifer. Jennifer, you want to purr into the mic? Come on, say hello. I'm kidding. You know, people do that with their children. That's my cat purring. Do you hear that? That's her purring. Okay, purr yourself on someplace else. I'm tired. All right, let's get back to explaining to you all exactly where we're standing on the documents and why I file the documents. So everybody's saying, well, you need to become a secure party creditor. Really? People are saying, you got to establish yourself. You got to show what your standing is. Okay. So how do we do this? How do we establish our standing? How do we show people where we are, who we are, what we are about? Well, we're going to make a suggestion, and this is only a suggestion. We're going to tell you to think back to let's go back further, 1514 AD. No, let's do an earlier date, 1456 AD. And the Treaty of Paris. And the other treaties, the one where the Britain monarch came over to America and declared all natural-born individuals sovereigns. Interesting, ain't it? Because we don't bother to read, but we know about these things. We've heard about them for years. Well, think about it back then, 1542. Did anybody have to file a UCC1 financial statement? What about 1642? 1842? 1742? Anybody know that in 1909, did anybody have to file a UCC1 financial statement? Okay, then why are we doing it now? Because somebody said we need to do it? Why? Because it identifies us. No, the only thing that document does is it places something in a unique position. Okay. For instance, how did one let everybody know who they were in the 1500s? We told you to do this with the Declaration of Executorship. Many of you were trying to follow them with the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of State wouldn't follow them. So what did we tell you? Place it on a public record. Interesting. So you went to the clerk of the court, and they wouldn't file it. So we told you to file a miscellaneous case number and file it into miscellaneous. Even gave you a template. And we told you to file everything under that miscellaneous case. Why? Because it just needs to be on the public record. You see, for you to become a secure party creditor, you just need to be on the public record as such. This is all about public record, noticing the public. You see, the Supreme Court, let me see if we can do this. I gotta cancel this. Hey, the Hawaii 5-0 thing. Hey, I have to look for a document. It's gonna be in this folder right here. Documents in this folder. Let's do type. Let's do date. And we're gonna do bailment bond. B-A-I-L-M-E-N-T. A. No, I don't need that one. I need bailment bond. Interesting. I'm going to have to go in this folder. Yeah, burn notice. I've been getting into that lately. B-A-I-L. Bailment bond EFT cover letter. Now, why am I opening up the bailment bond EFT cover letter? Because we need to show y'all something. Because a lot of people don't pay attention. You see, we don't have to use their laws. We don't have to use what they do to get what we need to get done. Now, in this document, we say a UCC financial statement is to be or has been filed in reference to this matter. We don't have to file a UCC1 lien. It's just that's how you place the lien on the public record. But let's give you the law for how we were doing the administrative process so that you get it. Getting tired of that. I'll take care of that later. Due process requires at a minimum that an individual be given a meaningful opportunity to be heard prior to being subject by force of law to any significant deprivation. That the hearing required by due process is subject to waiver and is not fixed in form. You don't have to have it before a judge. That's why it's not fixed in form. The format is not the point. It's the fact that you give the other party notice. Does not affect the root requirement. What's the root requirement? That an individual be given an opportunity for a hearing before he is deprived of any significant property rights. Now, this is Randone versus the Appellate Department in California. Okay, let's look at the next case that supports that case. In the latter case, and it tells you the case here, Central Hoover Trust Company versus Mullane, we said that the right to be heard has little reality or worth unless one is informed that a matter is pending and can choose for himself whether to appear or default, acquiesce, or contest. That's when I first found out about this case, when I first learned about this case back in 1999, I sat up there, that's where I became familiar with the word acquiescence and acquiesce. It was all from this right here, this law. Now, that an individual be given an opportunity to be heard. Well, you're giving them that opportunity by placing it on the public record. Now, we told you in our last video, no more paid to the order of the United States of America without recourse. We're going to be credit to the United States Treasury without recourse. Okay? Let's go. We're going to continue. We're still working on that. We just worked on it, but we're still working on it. There are other decisions that affect that one may be deprived of property by summary administrative action. By summary administrative action taken before hearing when such action is essential to protect the vital government interests. Now, the other cases we have, this is what Justice Black said of the Supreme Court. And this was a long time ago because Black ain't there no more. In his dissenting opinion stated that the Supreme Court in Wisconsin properly pointed out the ability to place a lien upon a man's property, such as to temporarily deprive him of the beneficial use without any judicial determination of probable cause, dates back not only to medieval England, but also to Roman times. Now, this is what you need to understand, people. They're still going under Roman law. Nobody in the Roman times needed to follow UCC. When Paul was being held before the provincial governors, he announced to them that he was a Roman citizen. And so they brought him before the leaders of that area. And they asked him certain questions. But he had already attested to the fact that he was a Roman citizen. Now, technically, Roman citizens could not be prosecuted and or accosted unless there was a witness testifying against him and there was an injured party. And in the case, Paul was accused of trying to start a riot, an insurrection against the ruling authority. When that was disproved, the statement was he could have been set free, but he appealed to Caesar. Now, how many people get an audience before the actual leader of a country, especially back then? He could only do so because of his rights under Roman law, which superseded their maritime law. Yes, they had maritime law back in Rome, but he didn't have to follow UCC1 financial statement, nor did the people who were accusing him have to follow UCC1 financial statement. It just has to be a matter of public notice. So go back and reread the issues in the book of Acts where Paul is being put in jail each time. There was a public notice being given. There was an army officer being called. We need to establish our status first. The Declaration of Executorship is not the best document out there. It's not the greatest document out there. However, the original Declaration of Executorship that was up on the web, and it's still up on the PDF section of the site, covered all of the presumptions. That was the first document. Then we created another document. That document was the All U.S. Corpse document. That's what we called it, the All U.S. Corpse document. And after the All U.S. Corpse document, then we created another document known as the Dissolution of Trust document. Well, if you notice, prior to all of that, this had already been filed on a public record. So what did we do after that? We took and we combined all three documents into one. And we rushed it because we wanted to get it out there so quickly. Because I should have taken the time, but too many things going on. So we're going to redo that, and by next week, I hope to have that up for all to see, including the new documents on the readersright.com site. Okay? It's a lot of work, so I want you all to just sit back and be patient. But this video is only to highlight one thing, that it is not necessary for people to do the secured party creditor aspect of things. Now, if you want to operate in commerce, and if you want to gain control over your property, then put it on a public record that that's your property. The government doesn't have it on a public record that it's their property. See, when a person is brought to existence through a hospital, the birth certificate doesn't create the straw man. What creates the straw man is you're engaging in commerce under that title. That's all it is. When you get a social security number, they create a title. But because they create the number and you use that number to operate, do you not know that you can operate within the system without a social security number? Interesting, ain't it? Well, let me tell you how I'm going to do it. Well, my document is certified and notarized that I am Brett, son of Isaac. As a matter of fact, I have court documents because I filed them under Brett, son of Isaac Jones. So that's me without a last name. Okay? When I do that, I now will be going to the Department of Motor Vehicles here. And I'll be making sure they understand that they'll be issuing an identification. That's all I want, is just the identification in that name. I don't want a driver's license. I just want an ID. Because that's going to be the title that I'll be operating under from this point forward. There is no social security number for that title. The first thing everybody tells you, you must change your name. You don't have to change your name. You just have to assume another name. So you don't have to go to court to change your name because, see, they created that name into a title, so they convoluted your identity, your property. The Declaration of Executorship secures that property on the public record. That is why you take that document, you get it notarized, you get it filed in the county record. Well, what if the county refuses to file it? Then you get it filed in the miscellaneous court record. Well, how do we do that? We created a document called the Dissolution of Trust document. It is on the website. I'm not going to tell you where it is. Go look for it. readersright.org/PDF. You fill in that document with all pertinent information applicable to you. It's a miscellaneous case filing, and that's what you go into district court, United States Federal District Court, and you tell them you have a miscellaneous filing. They're going to sit up there and try to give you a hard time. It's $40 to file a miscellaneous filing. A lot cheaper than your county recorder in most cases, because in some states, it can be as high as $120. But what you want to do is understand that the miscellaneous filing, you don't get charged per page. In the county recorder's office, you do. In the miscellaneous filing, you can file all of your other documents into the same case. You can even amend the case. Okay? Miscellaneous case will never be heard. And you serve it on the parties. Who are the parties? The United States Corporation and all other entities of that corporation. Remember, notice the principal is notice the agent is notice the principal. So the first person you're going to serve is the Secretary of State. Now that this has been filed on the public record, now that you have proof that it's been filed on the public record, and this is what we did, and I showed you a copy of mine where I sent it to everybody, you now present that document as your evidence that all parties have been properly noticed as required by law, that they were given proper notice. See, that's what the law requires. The law does not require a UCC1. It says, we said that the right to be heard has little reality or worth unless one is informed that a matter is pending and can choose for himself whether to appear, default, acquiesce, or contest. Well, what matter are they talking about? The matter of whether or not it's your property. So due process requires at a minimum that an individual be given a meaningful opportunity to be heard prior to being subjected to any force of significant deprivations by law. That a hearing required by due process is subject to waiver. You see, when they don't respond, they've waived their right. We give them 30 days. You can give them 14, but we give them 30 days to respond. When they don't respond, then this is the case we use. So do you see it right in front of you? Write down the case. Randone versus the Appellate Department. And write down the numbers afterwards. The 1971, SC3D as in David, 536550. This is the Supreme Court case that was heard in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and went all the way to the Supreme Court. Okay? This is what they said. And it still holds water today because, as they told you, the right to be heard or the right to be made aware dates back all the way to medieval England as well as Roman times. What was the Roman times? Well, roughly 2nd century BC to the 1000th century BCE. Those were the Roman times, in all accounts, give or take a couple of centuries. Roman Empire lasted well over, and it still exists today, believe it or not, but well over 1,000 years. One of the longest standing empires, world empires, in history. Okay? So if it dates all the way back to Roman times, it is maxim. It's a principle in law. That's what the Supreme Court Justice was stating, that it dates back to that time. It is a principle in law, and as we talked about in the last video, they stick to their principles, especially their legal principles. So all you need to do is get your documents filed on the public record. If you want to file a document saying that the Sesame Seed tree fairy is your property, then by all means you file that stupid piece of junk. But the reality is, give me 1 second. Jennifer, good girl, come here. Sorry, when I call my cat, she runs. But she was in the kitchen playing with something, and I want to distract her because she's been getting into my work product, and I've been having to make sure she understands she don't get to touch my work product or I'll kill her. So ladies and gentlemen, basically what this video is to do is to make sure everybody understands, if you don't want a notary signing your document, if you don't think a notary is necessary, and I'm promising you a notary is not necessary, then you have 2 or 3 other people witness your document. And by the way, putting your thumbprint on there is not a bad idea. I don't go with the blood signature and all that stuff. I really don't go for that because I don't think it's necessary. What I think is absolutely necessary is having it on the public record and having it authenticated. What do we mean by authenticated? Filed in the county record or with the Secretary of State or with the Federal District Court, because we talked about the federal zones and the federal areas in the last video under the Buck Act. Okay, that was the case. Sorry, me cat. She's running around and she's right here in my arms again. The only thing is she's not purring now, but she's got some claws on her, so I gotta be careful. I'm gonna have to cut your claws too soon, but she's a pretty good knucklehead. Alright, so this was me just giving you my take of what I've known. Some people have questioned me and cautioned me. Remember I told you that the UCC was a trap, and I did that video, and then I came back and I said I told people that because most people didn't know what the UCC was or how to use it and how to utilize it. It can be utilized for very many things, but for the most part, you, in my opinion, do not need to utilize that piece of junk. Okay? If you don't know what you're doing, you should be leaving it alone. Well, you put UCC1-308 on everything. You better believe I do. Well, that means that you're putting yourself in their jurisdiction. Nope, it does not. It means that I'm letting them know in commerce I'm reserving my rights. It means that I'm also letting them know outside of commerce I already have entitlements. Remember, as a living, breathing man, sentient, or woman, sentient, you don't have rights. You never did. So stop talking about your rights. Only your straw person has rights. You have entitlements. This is what we talk about, knowing who you are. And yes, sometimes they're going to act ignorant and they're going to be ignorant. Sometimes it's not an act. But you have to know who you are. And yes, because the information I'm giving all of you is different now than before, because I'm not holding back. And you can thank the commission, the previous group that I was setting up for the commission. You can thank them for this, because this is conversations I would have with them. I decided to forget holding conversations with a small group and to discuss it with the YouTube group and with you guys. Why? Because I don't care. I don't care who gets mad because I'm delivering this information to you all. Yes, there's going to be some headaches. There's going to be some people who are not going to want me to deliver this information to you. Now, at what time was it? I think I told you it was 7:22 when I was uploading the last video, and it says 788 minutes. Okay, it is 11:52 p.m. on Tuesday. And if I wasn't tired earlier today, I'm tired now, because this is 3 videos being done in this one day. As a matter of fact, that date is wrong. That was done today. So what I'll do is I'll see if I can save my settings, because it doesn't. I did change it. Okay, it is changed to 12/4/2000. Oh, I said it was done today. Oh, that's right, it is, because it's not 12 o'clock yet, so it's still the 4th. Okay. Well, that video update, the one must return to the source. And what do we write credit to? You see, each one of the videos that I do, they all follow right behind each other. One leads to the other. So we definitely want you to get that understanding. Let me do less. Okay. I know it's still going to tell me that it hasn't saved. See? Some changes couldn't be saved, so I'll do it on the other end. Like here, where all of my videos are. Lordy B. Okay, let's see. We got to go all the way down here. I was going through some old videos. That's why. We'll go here, then we'll go to the next one. So, again and again and again, people keep asking me, where do we start? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? And I'm going to say it again. No, you don't need to do this and you don't need to do that, in my opinion. Well, I thought you don't give your opinion. I have a finger that you can grab hold of. As a matter of fact, consider myself to be without thumbs, index, pinkies, and ring fingers, and you can hold on to the one that's left. Okay? So, basically, I guess what I'm trying to tell you is, don't worry about this, don't worry about that, just pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Also, it didn't take the date. It didn't like me changing the date. And the other one is not showing the correct date, and it's supposed to be this date, the 4th. So, gotta keep it accurate. Okay. And then we gotta take away the ability of people to comment, because what will happen is some people abuse that ability. And so basically I just got tired of the abuse, and I said no more. That's how we correct the changes thing. I guess YouTube wants you guys to comment. Okay, that video, let's see, the one must return to the source. I started loading that video at 11 a.m. this morning. The only problem is it took several hours. By 3:30, it was still uploading. And by 7 o'clock, it was still uploading. That's how long it takes me to upload a video. So this other one will be finished somewhere around 3 o'clock in the morning, and this one will be finished around maybe 5 o'clock, because this one won't be as long. This is Leela James saying don't speak. So she's telling me to shut up, and I'm going to listen to her because she knows what she's talking about. Okay? We can get rid of you because we changed you to what we need you to be. Okay, we got the video for the Buck Act. That will be up shortly. And then we have this video explaining people whether or not a UCC1 financial statement is necessary. In our opinion. In our suggestions to people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go. I gotta print up some labels, and then I gotta go to sleep because I've been exhausted the last couple of days, as I keep saying. And I know why, because I'm staying in front of this computer for more than 13 hours a day. Trying to be on Skype, trying to do videos, trying to handle all the mailings, trying to handle mortgages. Too much for one person. Too much for this person. So I'm going to have to stop. Don't tell me because it hurts. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for allowing me into your homes. Have a very good evening, very good night, very good day. ReadersWrite.org, ReadersWrite.com, and YouTube.com/user/ReadersWrite. Redress.write on Skype. And again, it'll be about another week. We'll do a video, and it'll be entitled the Redress Update Contact Group or something to that effect. And the video will deal with strictly the Skype issue, where everybody who wants an opportunity into the group will have an opportunity. The first 30. Just that simple. And in order for you to be in the group, we're going to explain you need to have a Skype account. But ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this intro is going to be a little bit short. Now, when I say short, I mean long. Why? Because we got something we need to talk to you about. Something that we think is very important. You've all seen the news. There are clandestine wars breaking out all over the earth. There is famine, food shortages, earthquakes. There are wars basically everywhere you look. As a matter of fact, since the turn of the 19th century into the 20th century, There has only been 7 days where the world has been at peace on documented record. But yet, the times we're going through right now is unprecedented. The stuff happening today has never happened before. So there is no, we made it through it before, we can get through it this time. That's not going to be the case. That's not going to happen. So what are you going to do? In some of our intros, we told you what was about to happen. We told you about the FEMA camps. We told you about the diseases that they are purporting to spread throughout the world to decrease the population. Kofi Annan, former UN Secretary General, told you what they were getting ready to do. They told you that they were going to decrease the population, but yet you didn't pay attention. You didn't think it was possible for them to do this. And then you sat back quietly as we brought to your attention that they were moving military equipment and positioning it throughout the entire United States, outside of all major cities. Why? To create a bottleneck, to block everybody inside the city. You're asking, how can they do this when there are more people than there are military? Because fear is a very powerful weapon. And if you have somebody with a machine gun standing in front of you and all you have is a machete, well, let's say they don't have to worry about you no more. So many people are going to want to stand up and they're going to want to fight and they're going to want to go and get their guns and they're going to want to be the opposition. The best thing you can do, this is our opinion and we've never given you our opinion before, but the best thing you can do is to keep your mouth shut about what's going on, to keep it to yourself. You know what's going on. Play along. Just play along. Act dumb. Act stupid. Act like the rest of the people. Act like you don't know a single thing about your rights or what's going on. Yes, I'm sorry to say this to all of you, but the best way to defeat your enemy is to understand your enemy and to use his tactics against him. They are looking for people who are awake. They are looking for people who know what's happening. They are looking for people who know what's going on. So you are going to have to pretend that you are not part of the individuals who are awake, that you are still asleep. You played daydreaming when you were a child. With your parents, you played like you were asleep. So all you have to do is play dumb. I think many of you can master that without very much practice. Just kidding. But it is absolutely necessary. Sorry that this intro is a little bit longer than others, but we think that this information is very important to the many of you because it's going to create a problem, a very big problem. A lot of people will die, and you are going to have to hold your head up, and you're going to have to take it in stride, only for the moment, only until they affect what they are purporting to do. And then we can change everything. But many of you have no clue as to what changes are coming. So I'm going to say this again. Although I mentioned it before, I will say it again. You have to focus on saving your life. And there is only one way for which you can save your life. I cannot tell you what that way is. If you don't already know, then you're going to have to do your research and find out. Sorry, that way is only provided for those who search for the answer. Just like discharging debt or offsetting debt. We can't tell you how to do that. Because if we give you all the answers, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Well, this is your lifetime, and you're going to have to make the best of it. This is from your friends here at the Redress Right Organization.